Welcome. Thank you. This is Peter Williams. You're stuck with me instead of Annie, so my voice on administration training for you. I apologize, but I'll do the best I can. Today we're going to cover administration and how to set up your new eFish accounts and locations. And first, I just want to make sure that everyone knows everything we're going to talk about today and on the screens are right here under Help Home, Administration, and then we'll talk about add users, company settings, location settings. All of these things, how to do, are located right here in the Administration tab. So if you need direct reference back to that as we're going forward, please reference there. So when you log on to a new eFish instance, and as the administrator, you're going to set up that location, everything you're going to need to do is going to be under the Administration tab. So as you click the Administration tab, the first thing we're going to set up are our company settings. In this area, on the General tab, you're going to make sure the name of that particular location or that company is correct. You'll also set, if you have an accounting integration, your accounts payable account, and that will automatically be available for you to set once the accounting integration has been completed. Then you'll want to make sure and set your fiscal year. What we mean by fiscal year is, do you set or do you run your profit and loss statements by month, each month, or do you do them on 13 4-week periods? So you'll want to identify that here and make that selection. And then when do you want your weekly reporting to start? Is that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? You're able to set that, and then that's how all the reporting within eFish will be for that particular company and location. Then your payroll frequency, you have your selections there. Biweekly would be twice a month. Your cash tip reporting threshold. This is a setting that you can place that gives you a benchmark in the payroll processing area to be able to know what minimum tip levels might be. If your servers aren't reporting certain amounts of tips, then you have a baseline at which to benchmark to. Overtime trigger frequency, everywhere that we know that this is weekly, there's some other choices in here, but every state that we're aware of, overtime is calculated on a weekly basis. Payroll tax rate. This is an estimation that we include in your profit and loss statement within eFish to help estimate this number so that that profit and loss statement within eFish is as accurate as possible. You'll be able to adjust this and change this to what is most reflective for the location or company that you're doing this for. The cash over notification threshold, this is so that on the daily detailed email that you receive or the location receives, will only tell you if there is a cash issue, if it's over 30 or under 30, and you may set this to whatever value you want. If you set it at 0, if there is a 1 cent difference in your cash over and shortage, it will be included on the daily email. On the accounts, this is utilized again on an accounting integration, and there are 3 ways that you control your chart of accounts within eFish. The GMAP, this would be the accounts payable area, and what do you want people who are coding invoices in eFish to be able to use? So you may set these and make available as many accounts or as few accounts that you want people to use in your AP processing area. Also, you can control your paid outs as well. Just unselect any box that you do not want to be available for paid outs in eFish. Finally, your short P&L. You can configure your P&L within eFish to be every account you have on your normal P&L coming from your accountant, or you may restrict any accounts that you don't want viewed as well. In this area, just uncheck any boxes that you do not want to be available in AP for a paid out or in the P&L, and once you've done that, you may hit save. To help a shortcut so that you know is I can select, for instance, that box, hold down my shift key, come down to here, and it will unselect all of those boxes for you. So if you have big banks of boxes you need to uncheck, that will be a shortcut to help save you some time. So after you set your accounts within eFish that are going to be available, you may skip the departments. It doesn't apply. Fiscal years, you'll want to set your fiscal year. So you would open this up by add a fiscal year, put in the current year, 2019 to 2019, and then you want to hit your start date. Was it January 1? If it were calendar, that's what you would set. If you were on 13 4-week fiscal periods, that very well could be a date from the prior year. For instance, Maybe you start on a Monday, and that could be December 31st, 2018. So depending on your fiscal year or your calendar year will determine how you set this. Once you set that, we will calculate all the rest of the calendar year for you, for your fiscal year and or your calendar year. Same holds true for payroll. You'll want to identify when you add your payroll year, you'll want to identify what is the first date, what's that start date when you begin recording hours for an employee to be paid. So again, if that started in the prior year, you may need to go back to a 2018 or whatever the prior year may be on that first date and then set that. AP approval rules. Any restrictions that you want to put in eFish's AP processing, you have the ability to create a rule. You can create it by location, against any vendor, against any accounts. You may select who you want to be able to approve it, and you can even enter a dollar amount. So in this case, we would have for Wired Wine Bar North, this location, that any invoice that came across for a liquor vendor or for this liquor vendor, regardless of what account it was put to, Annie would need to approve it if it were over $1,000. And when I hit save on that, anytime an invoice is processed to that vendor over $1,000, Annie will get a notification, an email of which she can approve or deny that invoice to move forward in AP. So it allows you to set controls on any invoices coming through eFish. Now, if you don't want it to interrupt the AP processing or your invoice processing area, you can make it notification only. And to do that, just click on the box that says notification only. And then instead of Annie getting an approval or deny for that email, it will just simply say, oh, by the way, there's over $1,000 invoice going through for the liquor vendor. Finally, on inventory, in your inventory environment, you'll want to talk to your inventory administrator, and you'll want to set it to report manually if you are an instance that will be transferring goods between stores and you need those journal entries in your accounting area to offset the expenses. Again, see your eFish inventory administrator to know whether or not you need to set this for manual or not. That concludes the company setting.